Gentleman there, who do you support, sir?
Palmeiras.
Who?
Palmeiras.
Palmeiras.
You remember us in 1999?
We won't talk about that.
Thank you.
But you're welcome. Anybody else? Any other teams? You're not telling me that everybody here is a Manchester United fan, apart from this young gentleman? Yes? Okay, no? Ah, we see it. We're getting to the nitty gritty now. So you're an adult. And where are you from?
Australia.
Australia. Now, is this true? Now, when an Australian asks a question, he always gives you the answer in the question. I'll give you an example. What's your favourite colour, Blue? Am I right? What's your favourite girl's name, Sheila? What's your favourite boy's name, Bruce? Am I right? They always give you the answer in the question. Yeah. Anyway, welcome, and you're going to make sure after this you'll be a Manchester United fan.
I'm going back to Portsmouth in a week's time to see a Portsmouth game.
Did anybody hear that? Please erase it from your memory. Oh, you don't like football?
Yes, I do.
Well, why are you going to watch Portsmouth?
Because they're the team.
Okay, no, we welcome fans from all over the world, and you're all welcome to be here. Obviously, we love it. A little bit of history then about Old Trafford. This ground was built in 1908 for a cost of about £60,000 at the time. 1910 was our very first game here, and we played Liverpool. You all heard of Liverpool? Yeah?
What's that?
Yeah, what's that? I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we let them win 4-3 on the very first game here. That was so that they didn't cry. Now we try to win every game, obviously. On a match day, yesterday for instance, when we played Arsenal here, there were 75,000 plus fans in the stadium. It's the biggest biggest fan-based ground in the country. Behind us is Arsenal. They can host just over 60,000, and when Tottenham Hotspur's new ground is ready, theirs will be about 63,000. So we've still got the biggest fan base in the country. The stand we're in at the moment, this is the Sir Alex Ferguson stand. Have you all heard of Alex Ferguson?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
He's the most successful Premiership manager and the most successful Manchester United manager. And he was here almost 27 years as a manager. Winning in that time, anybody know how many trophies?
13?
Higher?
No, the Premier League.
Oh, Premier League 13, yeah.
Yeah.
How many actual cups, trophies?
36 or something?
Higher than that? 38.
Oh,
38 trophies in 27 years. You will not get that again. What happens now is if you don't get instant success, then you're out. But we had faith in what Sir Alex did, and he lasted the course. So this stand, as I say, the Alex Ferguson stand, this will host 25,000 fans. So there are 25,000 fans in here yesterday. To give you some idea, have you heard of a team called Bournemouth?
yeah.
Bournemouth, if you went to their ground and got all their fans, when it's full, brought them in here, you'd put them in here twice, and you'd still have 2,000 empty seats. That's just in this stand alone. Some of you are in red seats, some of you in white seats. You're all sat in the letter S of the word Manchester, which we'll see when we get over to that side over there. Is anybody actually from Manchester here? Apart from me, and Dave. Okay, there's two of us. So if you came from Manchester, you wouldn't say Manchester, you say Manchester. Manchester. You work at Asda. That's how we talk in Manchester. But anyway, when we get over there, you'll see where we started the tour. If you look down at the pitch, perfect condition, and there was a game played on there yesterday.
Yeah.
That pitch cost almost £1 million. It's 97% grass, 3% artificial fibres woven underneath to give it extra strength. And it's raised up by about 1 metre, which you'll see when we get pitch side how much it's raised up. And under there is about 18 miles of pipes. Pipework, plastic piping, carrying water. So if it's an icy day, we can heat the water up and we don't lose a game because of bad weather. So we'll see that a little bit later on. So as we're going round, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to ask me and I'll Google it. Okay? And if Google doesn't work, we'll ask Dave. And if Dave doesn't know, I'll give you a very convincing lie. Okay. The scorer gives you the substitute's name if there's any substitutions. On the far side, that's the most famous stand all over the world. That's the famous Stretford end. That's where all the hardcore supporters start. That's where all the singing starts. Has anybody been to a game here at Old Trafford?
Yes,
Yes?
yesterday.
Of course. There are no swear words in any of our songs, are there? None whatsoever. Child friendly. But anyway, I nearly said the swearing starts, the singing starts in the middle, makes its way right round here until it gets here. Behind you, if you were here yesterday, you know who was sat there. That's where the Arsenal fans come to see their team lose. And that's where they sit. 3,100 on a Premiership game. If it's a cup game, FA Cup, League Cup, European Cup, then we get a section above that banner there that says Manchester My Heaven. We can get another 6,000 away fans in. So 9,100 maximum away fans on a match day. Over my right hand shoulder, this is the Sir Bobby Charlton stand. Have you all heard of Bobby Charlton? Yes? He's been associated with Manchester United for over 60 years as a player, and he's now on the board of directors. He played for England when England won their first, only World Cup. And he played for Manchester United in 1968 when United were the first English team to win the European Cup, as it then was. Although it's the smallest stand, a lot of activity on a match day. In the central section, you can see the grey desks. Those grey desks are where the newspaper people sit, the press and radio commentators. They'll sit in the grey desks. Next to them, there's a section with darker seats. That's where the directors of Manchester United and the opposing team, that's where their directors will be. Underneath the stand, you can see the stanchion where the cameras will be on a match day, along with the commentators. Have we any young children here today? Yes? What's going to happen in a minute? Some ropes are going to drop down. We're going to climb the ropes. If you've got a young child, can you please tie them safely to your back so that don't fall off and break any of our seats? And that was a joke. The cameraman actually walk along the roof and down a little ladder into there. Okay, follow me. We shall move on. Exactly how long that press conference took. Okay, I'm going to reenact it. So I will be the manager, Jose Mourinho, and I'll show you what he did in the room. Okay? There was one person in the room, sat where that young gentleman is, and Jose said, "Have you got any questions?" He said, "No." It lasted about 8 seconds. Now then, when Sir Alex Ferguson was manager here, he hated the press. He said they told lies about him, the players and the club. And he was right. A lot of lies are written about Manchester United. Don't believe everything you read about United. So if he could get away with it, he'd send his assistant manager in to do the press conference. But if it was a European game, by European football rules, he was supposed to be in the room. And one year, his final year as manager, we played a team you've probably never heard of them called Real Madrid. We lost. One of our players called Nani was sent off. Have you heard of Nani?
Yeah.
Have you heard of Grandad? Anyway, Nani was sent off. Sir Alex Ferguson refused to come into the room and they fined him €25,000. The next day he said if I'd have gone in there and told them what I thought about the referee, they'd have fined me €50,000, and they would have done. Famous players over the years, very first guy in here, signed in here was a guy called Dion Dublin. He broke his foot very early in his career here, and we got a replacement called Eric Cantona from Leeds United at the time. Last player shown to the public was a guy called Diego Forlan, a Uruguayan international, good player, struggled to score goals at first, but he did got 2 against Liverpool in the same game, so I have Diego tattooed there. But yesterday it looked very nice. This is where the board of directors and any special guests will come before the game. They come in 3 hours before the game, and through the brown door at the back, Sir Alex Ferguson, Sir Bobby Charlton, they have a private dining area through there. The rest of the guests will be in here. You cannot buy a ticket to get in here, it's invitation only. People we have here regularly, you may or may not heard. Have you heard of Rory McIlroy?
Oh yeah.
Irish golfer, he comes here regularly. Usain Bolt,
Yeah.
he comes here quite a lot. Pretty Woman actress, Julia Roberts, she was here last season when we played Southampton. When Julia Roberts was here, I work as an MC on a match day and I got a phone call during the game. He went like, I said, hello. He said, it's Julia Roberts here. I said, oh, what do you want? She said, Alan, will you come over after the game and join me? And I said, no, Julia, no. I'm watching the football. Do you believe that? It's not true. Okay, international managers come in here if you want to see their team, their players here. And also the Queen of England has never been in here. She's an Arsenal fan. Not a lot of people know that. Okay, we're going back out into the stadium, into some seating area where you've got the best view of the ground. On the back row, there's not much room, is there? No, it's not. This is the narrowest row in the ground. And look where it is, right in front of the board of directors. That's like rubbing it in. Look, this is what you could have done. Anyway, where you're sat now, I think you've got the best view of the ground. Perfect position. Halfway line, see, equal half of the pitch, easy. Behind you are the board of directors, 4 rows back, so Bobby Charlton has 4 seats. Next to him, Jose Mourinho is allocated 4 seats. And on the 5th row, Sir Alex Ferguson has 8 seats. On the other side of the opening is where the board of directors of the opposing team would be. I don't know if you noticed, but under some of these seats, there's one there, you see a name? There's little nameplates under some of the seats. Not all of them, but on some of them. If you can't see them here, if you look over there where it says Adidas, to the right, there's things shining under the seats. You can't see it if you're already sat down, but those are little platinum nameplates that are given to season ticket holders who spend 25 years or more consecutively, every game, they're given one of them. One guy's 35 years of age and he's got one of them. So he's been coming here for every game for 25 years. Fantastic. Yeah, very good. See where it says Manchester's my heaven, the banner? Underneath there is some glass rooms. All around the stadium with 145 executive or private boxes. It costs from £20,000 a season to £100,000 a season. Between 8 and 16 people. But because they pay so much money, we give them a free programme worth £3.50 on the day. That's not for them, that's not each, that's for the room. Okay, since the book down the how good the condition is. They're already mowing the pitch as from yesterday. And in the week, when you come on a weekday, you can smell garlic all over the pitch. Because we spread garlic on the pitch, it kills insects underneath the surface. So if you have a lawn at home, spread garlic on it, seriously. Your lawn will be fantastic. Your neighbours will hate you, but the lawn will be fantastic. This is the United dressing room. Comes in here with 18 players. That's the first team squad and the substitute. First of all, they go in the corridor and they put a warm-up kit on. They'll go warm up for a bit, then they'll come in here and put their normal kit on. It's laid out in team formation along there: goalkeeper, defence, midfield, attacking players, and substitutes either side. The other shirts around the back here are, if your favourite player's shirts are there, you can see their shirts. These aren't the real shirts. They give them 4 shirts a year and they have to look after them. If they swap shirts with another player from another team at the end of a game, which some players do, they have to replace it. It's not as if they can't afford it, is it? It's not money. There are no lockers in the room for the players to put the clothes. When they come in, they put the clothes on the seat, the boots are waiting for them, and there is no safe for them to put the valuables. That was Sir Alex Ferguson's idea. He said if you can't trust your players in the dressing room, you'll never trust them on the pitch. And it worked. They have a good trust for each other because of that. Now when they come in, they get the opportunity to watch television. On here they watch BT Sport and Sky Sports. On this TV, they watch MUTV, which is Manchester United Television, our own television channel. There is a television in the away team dressing room, and we let them watch the Disney Channel. each season, there's a sound system here, an iPod docking station. Each season, somebody's chosen to be the DJ. He looks after the music in the background. Last season was Wayne Rooney and Ashley Young. Now, Wayne Rooney's choice of music was so bad, he's now at Everton. This year, our DJ is Paul Pogba. He decides what music is in the background. One player will not listen as our goalkeeper, De Gea. He likes heavy rock. He has his own set of headphones and he listens to Bon Jovi, Guns N' Roses. If you've heard of bands like that, old bands he likes, like, have you heard of Led Zeppelin? Yep. Yeah. Rolling Stones? He's into that and he listens to that. Now at half time, when the players come in, they'll have a drink, energy drink from the fridge, and they'll have an energy bar, such as a fig roll, or Jaffa cakes, bananas, and a cup of tea. These are all things that get your energy levels back up. If you've been running around for 45 minutes, these are the things that get your levels back up. A bell will go 10 minutes before the game, telling the players to go into the tunnel to get ready. Now, there is a full-length mirror here. I don't know if you noticed it when you came in. The full-length mirror, that was installed by Cristiano Ronaldo. There's a little bit of truth in that. When Ronaldo was in the team talk, he was stood here, looking at himself. All the other players were sat around there, but Ronaldo will be stood there. You can guess why.
Pogba?
Pogba? No, he's not so bad. No, that is Ronaldo's mirror. Nobody dare go near it. If Pogba looks into it, it'll crack. These tactic boards here, either side, they will not be used before the game. The tactics will have been discussed at the training ground, which is about 8 miles away, a place called Carrington. That's our Aon Training Centre. So we won't normally use these before the game. At half time, maybe they'll use blue and red markers to show various things on here, but not normally before a game. Now, at the end of the game, when the players come in, they throw their kit in the middle, then they go for a shower and an ice bath. It is a tub about that big, full of ice, and each player has to climb in and spend 2 minutes stood in ice. If they didn't do it, they would not last a full season, because what happens is, if you've been running round for 90, 94 minutes, 95 minutes, your legs can very easily seize up. Do you know what I mean by seize up? You get cramp, you get little pains, but standing in the ice is very, very quick recovery. It's very good. There is a slight problem. Ice tubs are that big. Juan Mata and Sanchez that big. What we're going to do, in there we have a little fishing rod, which we can get. We'll have a little frozen Mata, a little frozen Sanchez, 2 little hair dryers. That's not true. You know that. Okay, we're going to go into the players' tunnel now, and at some point we're going to line up in 2 teams, and we're going to go down to the side of the pitch, and we're going to have the music on, everything on that's on the match day. But when we go down to the pitch, please do not touch the grass. Very important that you don't touch the grass. The ground staff don't like it. We're on camera all the time, and you'll be fined, and we'll be fined as well. So we don't want any of that. So when you're ready, please follow me. It's called Philippe Flop. Philippe Flop. It's not funny. No, it's not. Trying to think for us, trying to get some humour out of that. It's terrible, isn't it? Anyway, you know who spreads the garlic on the pitch, don't you? Louis Van Gaal. It's getting worse. Yeah, I'm going to shut up while I can. Okay, everybody, I think you know where you are. You're in the players' tunnel. This tunnel was built in 1993 when we rebuilt the Stretford end. So from 1910 to 1993, the old tunnel was used, and we're going to be there in a bit. But from 1993 onwards, tunnels in the Premiership have to be this big. The reason being, I'm sure many of you are aware that a few years ago there were some disasters in the country, particularly a place called Hillsborough in Sheffield, where a lot of fans lost their lives simply because we could not get ambulances onto the pitch. Now I hope that never is the case, obviously, but the red doors at the back would open, ambulances and paramedic vehicles could come in here. This part of the ceiling that's painted yellow raises up 25 metres. It's on hydraulics, and the red canopy will roll down to the side of the pitch. It's on rollers, so we could get the vehicles in. Now then, can I ask you all to just move to this side of the room, please? Okay. Just to tell you what happens here. Have you seen players interviewed after the game? After they've had a game? If it's MUTV doing the interviewing, the player will be stood here with this background. BBC Sport there, ITV also there, and Sky Sports and BT Sports will be there. Now, we were the first team in the country to have our own television channel. Then others copied. You get Arsenal TV, Chelsea TV, Liverpool TV, Portsmouth have the History Channel, and Manchester City have the Comedy Channel. Fantastic, guys. Look at it. I don't write this stuff, can you?
Is this your first one?
That was brilliant. Okay. Shake hands. Okay. Have you ever seen a player score a goal at the Stretford end? He scores the goal and he celebrates now in a new way. He runs for 5 metres, then he travels on his knees for 40 metres, and he ends up at the corner flag. He holds the corner flag and he waves to this section here. He would have his wife or his girlfriend sat here. That's why you see them stood there waving here. Now, if he's invited his wife and his girlfriend, he runs to that corner flag. If he's invited his wife and 2 girlfriends, he runs back up the tunnel, through the big red doors, and he ends up in Australia. Okay, follow me, we're going down here. Where they're built. On the front row, NC Jose Mourinho would sit there normally. Next to Jose will be the assistant manager. Then we have the kit manager, looks after the shirt, the socks, the boots. And at the end seat, we have our doctor or medic. We've got plenty of roles today. Let's say, for instance, Paul Pogba breaks his nail on his little finger. He needs a medic. He'll be sat there. The back 2 rows are where the substitutes of Manchester United would be, and the 3rd row in on the back, the gentleman there with the glasses on and put your hand up, sir, that's where Alex Ferguson used to like to sit. Jose prefers to be sat there, unless he's out here in what we call the technical area. What's technical about it, I do not know. It's white lines on a bit of grass. But anyway, it's called the technical area. This is the old tunnel, which we're going to go up in a bit. That's the only thing left standing after World War II. Because Old Trafford was made of wood, it was burnt to the ground. But that being made of concrete withstood it. So the old ground, this ground has been built around that tunnel. So for 83 years, from 1910 to 1993, famous players of all teams have come down that tunnel. You can now actually get married here at Old Trafford. We have a wedding ceremony suite, and the bride and groom come down to the pitch side to have their photos taken, and they'll stand there. I think one of them at least will be a United fan. So does anybody want to propose today and we can get it on film? No? No? Dave? No, I don't mean, I'm not asking him. that's let me finish my sentence. Dave has £25,000 in his pocket, which we give to any couple that proposes. But it's too late now if you want to try it. But we actually give £25,000 if there's a proposal here. Keep it till next time. No, that bit's not true. But the wedding bit is true. Now, in front of the tunnel, some of you up there won't see it yet, but when you come down here you will. There is a square box that says 100 years of Old Trafford. That is a time capsule. That was dug out and put there in 2010, commemorating 100 years. Now, does anybody know what we were called before we were called Manchester United? Newton Heath. So in there are things from the Newton Heath days. We used to play in green and gold, so there are scarves in there. There is 2 old boots in there. Oh no, my wife and her mother are at home. Don't record that, please. No, there are some old boots in. She's recording it. You'll blackmail me. Now, there is a rumour, and it's only a rumour, that Louis van Gaal is in there. We've not seen him for a while, have we? So that'll be open again in 2110, commemorating the second 100 years here at Old Trafford. Now, we're going to go down the tunnel. Play with my keys. Not funny, I sometimes wish the ground was Okay, everybody, thank you very much for coming on the tour. That's the end of the tour. I hope you've enjoyed seeing a little bit of Old Trafford that you wouldn't normally get to see. I want to thank our new manager for the fantastic press conference, our new player for his explanation of how we played, our two captains for our handshakes, which were fantastic. That's the best part of the tour for me. That was so brilliant. Thank you. When you go in here, you're in the mega store. You can buy anything in here from Manchester United. Buy what you want. You spend a lot of money on these things. So we've got shirts, socks, boots, hoodies, coats, pens, mugs, everything. But as a bonus to every one of you, far end of the store, on the left-hand side, see the customer services people there, and they will give you a certificate similar to that one, change it slightly. It's signed by Sir Alex Ferguson, and they show you how to put your name on it, print it on. So that's free, that doesn't cost you anything, that's as a thank you for coming on the tour. You've all got the lanyards around your neck, they will get you back into the museum if you want to have a look round, and you can keep them, they're free, you don't have to hand them back in, just give me £1 each for them as you go through. If you want to see some more of Old Trafford, as you go out of the megastore, turn right and right again to the south stand. We have what we call the Munich tunnel area. That explains what happened in 1958. I'm sure many of you are aware, a lot of 8 Manchester United players and staff lost their lives on a horrific air crash. And it's all explained in there, but also on a positive note, it tells you what happened 10 years later under the guidance of Sir Matt Busby and the famous Busby Babes, as they were called, how we won the European Cup in 1968. So that's all there for you. Museum, you've got the Red Cafe as well, if you want to have something to eat and drink. As we go through the door here, be very careful, there's a bit of a slope up there. You don't want any accidents on a Monday. Okay, it's a lot of messing about. So on behalf of myself, I am...
Sir.
There's a word before it, thank you. Thank you, let's get it right. And at the back, that is...
Lady
Dave. Thank you very much for your day today. Have a great time here. Enjoy whatever you're going to do in life, enjoy it.